I remember when I was a novice, one of the juniors, that means 2 years after the novitiate, is a juniorate. He was a junior and he said to me, "Hey, Patso, have you heard God's voice?" I was a little stunned. Have I heard God's voice? I would like to ask you, did you hear God's voice? It's an important question for us to answer. How do you hear God's voice? You see, if there is a big crowd and your mother is there in that crowd and you don't see her, but if she calls out your name, you can hear that it's your mother. Why? Because you're tuned to her. You know her voice. In the same way, my dear sisters and brothers, how old are we? And these many years, have you not heard God's voice? From children, when we are there, we say Jezukpa and so many things. But how is it that you don't hear His voice? But how could you have heard it? I heard God's voice and I joined. I also did not know how it would happen. But I kept praying, and as I prayed, I began to hear His voice. He called me in a dream and said, "You're meant to be a priest." And I said, No, I can't do that. But He has been speaking all along. And so how do we hear Him? First and foremost, we must be attuned to God's channel. Just as we are attuned to our mother, father, friend, we can hear their voice and we know it's them. But they're also communicating with us. Do we always listen to our parents? No, sometimes we don't. Why? Because we want to do our own thing and they're telling us something? No. So what is God telling us? You have heard it right through all these years, that God has a plan for each one of us. And those plans He's revealing to us as we go on. Now, how do you know that you have heard His voice? When you have heard His voice, you experience peace in you. You feel certain that this is what it is. This is His will. This is what He wants to do through me. Now, very often what we want to do is do it for Him. No. God is one with us. Jesus is one with us. I've already said that so many times. We've been created in Him, the Word, and we've been redeemed in Him through baptism. So we are entirely the Lord's. We don't belong to ourselves. We belong to Him. That's why we are called Christians. So we are part of His body. And so we have a unique work to do. And who is doing it? He is doing it through us. And so what do we have to do? Like Mary, I am the servant, may it be done through me, according to your word. My words, my speech, my everything. And when we do this, what happens is we also touch the lives of people. You saw what was said about Samuel. He said, "Speak, Lord, your servant hears." And then in all of that area, they knew that there is a prophet, the one who listens to God's voice and speaks God's voice. And so it is with all of us. All the time we are talking about God. But if our attention is on the world and we become self-centered, then that is not what's going to work. We are going to bring discord, not concord. Disharmony, tumult, a lot of, agitation. This type of a thing is not coming from God. It's coming from the evil one. And so it is important for us to take it to the Lord. Look at what the Lord is telling us today. He just touches and He heals. But look at what He does. He goes and spends time alone in the morning. We have seen Him, He spends time alone at night. And so I have always told you, if you remember well, for the last few years, that we should spend time at night and in the morning, just 5 minutes. What do we do at that time? Be attuned to His presence within you. And how can you be attuned to it? Be attuned to your breath. When you're attuned to your breath, you're not living at the head level, you're living at the heart level. And you will see that you can see, hear many things that you would not otherwise see. Because when you live at the breath level, you're not living self-centeredly. You're living to be present to Him who is present in us at the breath. He's our life, and He leads us and guides us. My dear sisters and brothers, you have heard all these things. It is left up to you to understand this, to put it into practice. Otherwise, we will be only listening and living the same life with no change and no happiness and peace. Let us ask the Lord today, as Devasayam heard God's voice, said yes to Him, and with Him addressed the situation for which he had to pay the price, and he was identified in Jesus in this way, offering his suffering in union with Jesus for the salvation of all those people. And that's what all martyrs and saints and all of you are doing. Let us do this even more better to this Eucharist today, so that we may become truly what each one of us is called to be in Jesus. Hold your hands, place them in your lap, close your eyes, and be present to your breath. You will marvel at what God has done for us and is doing through us if we are tuned to Him.